Ladies or gentlemen, welcome once again to the Big Fun Podcast, episode 8. I'm Guy.
I'm the dove, and I am
And
sick.
the dove is
Uh,
kind of sick.
yeah. This is gonna be the last episode this season, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You think,
It,
I mean,
yeah.
you don't think
Well,
you'll. Well, I mean, I don't.
we
Can
can
you do.
actually.
I guess your
I,
finals
yeah,
are.
I
Yeah.
can do next week, Wednesday and Thursday.
Mm. Yeah, I'll need to
Recording.
see when my finals are. Though I'm not too concerned with them because, I mean, everything I've been doing so far has been relatively easy. So, last episode, we kind of foreshadowed what we're going to talk about today, which is hypocrisy. Um, I know you brought it up, Nadav, so I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to just maybe say
Well,
what you want about it.
sure. So last podcast, some of you may have been able to tell that I was kind of having a bit of an existential crisis. Um, and after the podcast, I it took a while. It took a few days, but I managed to push it out of my mind and stop thinking about it for a bit. Um, and after like a day of not thinking about it for a little bit, I realized that maybe I'm just blowing my nose a sec. Maybe
If you gotta blow out your nose, just tell me. I'll just talk.
yeah. Well, maybe I was making some like a mountain out of a molehill. Like I didn't have to make a decision at that time. I can leave it off, and so I'm gonna leave it off. I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. So I'm better now in that sense, but now I'm sick, so worse off in that sense.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to bring up hypocrisy, and it still stands, is because I give advice to people a lot, but I don't usually follow that advice.
Hmm.
And like if my life would be possibly a lot better if I followed my own advice, because people seem to like my advice when I give it. So perhaps I should do that, but I don't. Right,
Yeah.
and it's for this instant with my existential crisis. Like I could not push it off, right? Like I could tackle it, you know, and say something and do something about it, but I'm not going to. And like my life is fine, like things are fine if I don't, but maybe things would be better if I do. And I feel like maybe I'm limiting myself out of fear.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel it's very easy. Well, it's not easy because we're both so smart and humble and talented, but it's easy to sound wise over the internet, you know, and to preach advice in general. I mean, people have been doing it for the longest time, doing the like do as I do as I say, not as I do, right?
Yeah.
And then some people would say, be the change you want to see in the world, you know. And I I don't know if I it's hard to think about. Um, I I think I live like I preach people should live. I mean, I don't uh, really preach per se, but I would say that I live by my own code that I tell other people, right? But I am sometimes hypocritical, um, in more petty sense. For example, like I can't sleep with with small noises around me, or like really small amounts of light, because it just bugs me. I'm like laying in bed and like I want it to be completely silent, and then I hear something like a mosquito or like electrical buzzing, and I tell people to knock it off, but um in my mind I'm like I probably do that too, like make small noises all the time. and record a stupid podcast in my room. So I can be hypocritical like that, but I guess the way um, I make sense of it is like people have different standards. So I may be like sensitive um, to noise when I try to sleep, but other people may not.
I Yeah, no, I don't think I'm hypocritical on small things like that, or at least I don't notice if I do. If I
Mm,
am, I think it's big things. But for the most part, I I I tell people what I do, right? But
yeah,
sometimes I tell them what I think people should do, and it's perhaps not what I do.
yeah,
It's like an ideal self versus a real self kind of thing. But even though I know what my ideal self is, and I've acknowledged my real self, I don't work to make them one and the same. Like, I just don't care enough.
Hmm. Well, I feel like whenever I give advice, at least, especially on this podcast, it's not gonna be very explicit or direct. It's probably gonna be verbose and nebulous. And it may have philosophical meaning, and you're like, huh, this makes sense, but translating that into something you literally do is difficult. So I think the best way to give advice to people is not to tell them what to do. It's like the saying, if you give a man a fish, he'll be um, like satisfied for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, he's going to be satisfied for life. So don't, I think the right way to give advice is not to tell people exactly what to do, but to guide them into how to think so that they can figure out what to do.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's always about cognition,
Yeah,
right? Cognition
which is
first.
why it's easy to give these people these ideals that could be unrealistic and that you don't follow, but um I think that that's just to it's like a thought experiment, sort of an enriching thought experience.
Okay, well, so we're going to go into a specific example here, right? Last time or the time before, some point, I think we both agreed about how much we we would love it if people would just speak directly, like what they meant, what they thought, just say it, and don't like beat around the bush about it and like keep it hidden. And it's like I think we talked about this from the point of view of storytelling, about
Hmm.
like created drama.
Okay.
That's it's just generated from these like omissions and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and miscommunications, and
Yeah.
how much life would be just so much easier if people were always clear and concise and
Yeah.
direct.
Yeah.
um, and I believe that wholeheartedly, and yet I don't always do that.
Yeah.
um,
Well, I think it's difficult to do when people expect otherwise. Like if you go at least to America where I am, and you're like um and you tell people this stuff directly, they'll think of you as rude and bossy and stuff like that. So, you
yeah,
know,
but
I,
I don't fucking care what people think of me,
right, but
you
you're
know.
you're trying to transmit ideas, so you should.
Well, I don't, because if I have a good idea and they don't want to fucking follow it, it's their fucking problem. You see, like I don't care if I give someone my help and they don't accept it. That's their problem,
Right, but
because I
it's like,
tried.
okay, let's say you're doing a group project. And I'll tell you why we're laughing in a second, listener. And you need to communicate with the rest of your group. If you were to be like really direct, they would think you're rude and bossy. Even though to get the best results, allegedly you need to communicate.
I don't know. I speak direct. I say, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this done, and then we're gonna be done with it, and then we won't talk again, hopefully,
Mm,
because I hate you people.
yeah. Yeah, and I think this kind of connects to hypocrisy, but group projects. So my English teacher is like, I have an excellent idea. You have your final essay coming up. How about I stick a group project before it? And he did. And, I got in the team with um, a bunch of people. Two of them were like, I don't know if they were transfer students or something, but they were originally from China and their English was very bad. And then two other people who are um, kind of, they're not stupid, but, they're not the brightest. They're not the sharpest tool in the shade.
Shade.
So, this group project went exactly as I expected. I did my work, and today I presented it. It was the final day, and I looked and nobody did their fucking work, so I did everything for them. The good thing about it is we're supposed to put our names on every slide that we worked on. So my name literally appears on all the slides and nobody else's names. So they're not gonna get credit for it. I mean, the present making the presentation was easy, right? I seriously don't care about them not participating because they're the ones losing points. So, I mean, it's annoying, obviously, especially if you have a big project. And as I was thinking about that, um, I was wondering if I'm maybe being hypocritical if I've done something like that before. I don't think
No,
I have.
I've definitely done something like that before. I mean, it's not that I've ever had a project that I didn't work on at all, but there's definitely been projects where I didn't give a shit, so I just kind of
Yeah,
let other people tell me what to do, and then I just
yeah.
kind of like did the bare minimum.
It's like some projects, it's like they're big projects. You want to make sure that these fucking retards don't get it wrong, right? And then other projects, you're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
just,
those posters you have to make in like one class
yeah,
period.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
just,
I hate those so much. I just don't care.
yeah. They don't make any sense either.
Yeah.
I remember in U.S. government class, and we could tell the story about the the final party in that class.
Oh,
Yeah, so um, so in that class, we need like the final thing was to make a like a board game about how a bill becomes a law. I don't give a
I'm
fuck.
just a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill,
Yes.
but I
Um.
don't know how the song goes.
Anyways, so y- I don't care about that. I'm just like I didn't tell my partner, but I'm like partner. I don't care what's gonna happen here. I'm just gonna sit and do whatever you tell me to do, and that's what I did. Um. And
Yeah.
it was as exciting as I thought it would be.
Now, I actually wasn't in this class, but
No.
on the day of the final, I was in that class
Okay, so
for a very brief amount of
I'll
time.
tell you the story. And the moment we get to Unidub, you can tell it from your
All right.
perspective. Okay, so this teacher, she's a total hypocrite, by the way. I don't want to talk too much about that because I bitch too much on these podcasts. Um, so uh, yeah, so in the end of every semester, she has like um a final party, right? Which is basically everybody brings like all the sugar and sodium they can uh, physically carry, uh, and they just bring it to class, and we have kind of a potluck. Some guy brought like a donut cake. That was crazy. It was greasy as fuck. It wasn't that good, but I mean, it's a pretty novel idea, donut cake. Anyways, so we were having this party and he was like halfway through, and she was like, "There is no way we're gonna finish all of this food by ourselves by the end of this class. So how about everybody just go out and invite other people from other classes? Because chances are by this time they're already done with their final." So I'm going to Nadav's psychology class, um,
Was it
and
psychology?
it was psychology, I think, yeah,
Wait,
and
U.S. Gov. No, wasn't that sophomore year?
yeah.
I wasn't
Oh,
in psychology. No, no, I was. That was Mr. Abear's contemporary world,
oh yeah, it wasn't psychology. Okay,
which is why
so
I was out so early.
yeah. So I check his class and it's like empty, not even the teacher's there. Probably hibernating or something. So so I'm like, okay. Why wouldn't that be the library? So I go to the library, and I like walk in, and the first thing I see is Nadav with his like, did you have your fedora there? I don't
I
even
was I
remember.
was passed out, dude. I
Like
was like,
passed out, like his like in like a chair, like a couch chair, with his like I don't know if it was a fedora, a hat, or whatever, like over his face. Um, and I was like,
I was
hey,
yeah.
yeah, go, you can tell it now.
Well, that class, Contemporary World, with Mr. Aber. Mr. Aber didn't care about at all about basically anything.
He was a
Uh,
great man.
yeah, he was amazing. So the class was kind of a joke. The final was 45 questions, multiple choice, over 2 hours. And the last question was, how do you spell your teacher's name? It was bonus points. And it was four options. And the craziest thing is, at the top of every page, it said, A Bear, how it was written, because it was his test. So it was very simple. So I finished in like, I don't know, like 20 minutes or so. And I had like ages to go. But I couldn't leave yet because I was getting a ride with another friend of mine, I'm pretty sure, who still had a final. So I just went to the library to wait. And then I fell asleep. And then Guy came and woke me up. And we went back to his room. And what they were doing, they were watching Judge Judy.
Yeah, fucking Judge Judy. That shit is dope. I don't get how people watch it. It's the worst fucking show. What were you
As
doing with her Tupperware? Her Tupperware. It's like, dude.
as you can see, Guy and I don't really care for Judge Judy that much. So we asked Guy's teacher if we could just go outside, just sit outside on a bench that was like right across from the door, and just like play on our laptops. And she was like, no, just sit in the corner. So we sat in the corner, and we played some Flash games on our laptops.
It was the one. I think it was either like monkeys or frogs, and we had to
It was it was
shoot them into
squirrels,
baskets.
shooting
Squirrels,
birds
yes.
into
Aren't
baskets. Yeah,
squirrels really just frog monkeys?
I mean, I guess yeah, they're more like they're like rats, but like
Alright,
tree
yeah.
rats.
Anyways, I digest.
Yeah, you digest. So we were in the corner playing this game, this Flash game, and apparently we were being too loud. So to punish us, she kicked us out of the classroom.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what we wanted in the first place. So we just sat outside and continued doing what we were doing, happier than we were before.
Yeah.
So if she just let us out earlier, everyone would have been happy.
Yeah.
I don't know why she didn't.
Yeah, that teacher is a total hypocrite. Yeah, I won't go into it. Um, so yeah, any last thoughts about hypocrisy and why you're the most hypocritical man in the world? I'm just kidding. Like I don't know
Dude,
why I'm saying this.
why do you have to be so condescending?
We have way too many stories for all these inside jokes. It's not even that
Yeah.
funny. This one,
It's not funny at all. It's
no.
actually really hurtful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet the listeners like, oh my god, move on already, and we will. Um,
You want to hear some old jokes?
do I?
Yeah. Do you?
I mean, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
These are like really old, like off of like Egyptian hieroglyphics and old manuscripts and stuff.
All right.
Okay. So here's a classic. How many cowtails does it take to reach the moon?
6.
One if it's long enough. But
What the fuck? How many anything does it take to get to the moon? One if it's long enough, A good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
You got one for me?
No, I don't have any ancient jokes. No, unfortunately, no. Let's move on though to our next topic.
Oh, but I got a really good one.
Fine.
Okay, so so this is supposedly one of the oldest jokes in the world. All right, and it is pretty bad.
Okay.
So how do you entertain a bored pharaoh?
How?
You sail a boatload of young women dressed only in fishing nets down the Nile and urge the pharaoh to go catch some fish.
It's not that bad.
No.
I've heard a lot worse from you, Nadav. Specifically.
oh, here's an so this is an English joke. Right. So what hangs at a man's hip and goes into a hole that has been filled before?
What?
A key.
Okay.
Yeah. You thought I was gonna say something else, didn't you?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
of course.
Anyways, listener, I'm so sorry. You had to listen to this. Anyways, our next topic is
Is
Nadav.
what?
It
I don't know
is.
what it is.
Oh, didn't we want to do addiction?
Oh, okay. I didn't
I
know
mean,
that.
we got to do this sometime, right?
Dude, I'm like I'm like passing out as we
Yeah.
speak, so I'm not really in
Okay,
it.
let's just talk about something everybody has an opinion about. Fucking bodybuilders.
Oh,
They literally look
disgusting.
like animal balloons. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, even the ones who like are not on steroids and like are ridiculously muscular, dude. You just you, you don't look good, right?
Yeah, it
Your
looks really
skin looks
gross.
like a sausage, man.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's just disturbing to look at.
Yeah, and it's also like really unhealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes with a myriad of cardiovascular disease and whatnot, and it can lead to addiction if you're doing steroids or whatever. But it's just like, why would you do that to yourself?
No, it's not that like being ripped is bad, because like like
No,
Dwayne the Rock Johnson, he's pretty ripped, but
look at that dude.
he's not like to the point where it's like
No,
it's disgusting.
yeah,
You know, he's kept it to a good level. So like something like that is fine.
yeah,
But you go further, and it's just like, why would you? Why do you even want that? How is
yeah,
that appealing at all?
and it's like there's like a thing where bodybuilders, bless you, bodybuilders. So you know how human butts have fat in them.
Yeah.
So some bodybuilders, they have a goal of like being so ripped that their butts are like muscle.
Uh huh.
They're not like no fat, just muscle. It looks
I wonder
it
how
looks
comfortable that is to sit
it
on.
looks ridiculous. It looks absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna see if I can send you a picture here. It doesn't
I
even
don't.
look
No,
like
I
a
don't. I know what it looks like. I'm good.
okay. It literally doesn't even look like a human part. You know,
Excuse me.
I
Yeah.
just I don't get it. Um, and then, but that's just like one type of addiction. There's, I mean, a bunch of substance abuse, drinking, smoking, drugs, whatever. What do you think about that?
I actually. So this is a bit off topic, but do you remember like towards the end of high school, they had us take this survey, this like
Yeah,
drug and alcohol survey or whatever,
yeah,
and all of a sudden it also turned into phones.
yeah.
And
And,
before we
and
get
by the
into the
way, for
phones,
for you, for the listener, if you don't know, these like school surveys, they come with the most loaded questions you've ever seen.
yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec. But like
Okay.
back in the alcohol and drug section, it also like it brought up like cocaine and marijuana and like
All
cigarettes
the good
and stuff.
stuff.
But it
Yeah,
also brought up like hookahs, like water pipes,
yeah.
and it's like, oh yeah, I've seen people in high school just carrying around massive water pipes in their
In
pocket, just
Israel,
like
it's a thing.
yeah, but
I think it's a Mediterranean thing. I don't know
it
why.
is. Like
Yeah.
is there a hookah crisis
The
sweeping
hook.
across
Well,
California?
I think hookahs are the least of America's problems at this point.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So, so the phone thing. you could tell what their hypothesis and what data they would look after
Yep. And
from the
here's the
very
thing,
first question.
they phrased the question in such a way that your answer will make it look like you're like a phone addict or something.
Uh
Like you
huh.
can't it's absolutely ridiculous. And you can imagine in maybe a year there'll be an hypothesis like studies found that 75% of teenagers are addicted to their phones like you could be addicted to cocaine. It's like, and I mean, this is not going to affect anyone who like knows anything about anything, but it's going to be a huge confirmation to people who already think this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like, "Ha!" It's like all those studies which are like, um, drinking a glass of wine every day could help the heart, and then people who drink wine are like, "Oh, it's like the
Yeah,
ultimate."
it's actually
Um,
healthier. You know,
yeah, it's the ultimate uh, cognitive dissonance plus confirmation biases.
a glass of red
Kind of,
wine every
yeah,
day.
it's
You
kind
know,
of laughable.
stops heart cancer. You just won't
Yeah,
get it.
yeah,
100%.
yeah, and it's
Hundred
like there
percent of people who
there's
drink
there's an
red
entire
wine.
page of Facebook. I always see their posts, and it's like they keep posting this shit. It's like, did you know that people who have bad handwriting and are messy, or have like higher Q? It's like what? And people are like, "Ha! I knew it. I knew it."
Yeah.
It's like at least like watch Rick and Morty. Okay, like makes sense. I don't watch Rick and Morty. I
No,
fucking hate it.
I don't care.
I mean, I don't like cartoons in general, so I'm biased. Um,
I just don't watch.
so
There's no time.
so I mean, why do you think people start things that they know are addictive and detrimental, like picking up a smartphone?
Well, there's different reasons. You know, there's like the social reasons of
Yeah,
it's cool or it helps them fit in or whatever. But there's also like there's personal reasons. Um, like if your family were users, then you're quite likely to use too.
yeah,
These things have a trend to go down family lines.
yeah. You know,
And
you go
hmm?
ahead.
No,
Oh,
yeah.
well, it kind of I've thought about this before, but I've never really been like a full blown teenager. Like, I had my moments of rebellion or whatever, but you know, like I've never been like I'm gonna smoke. Uh, I'm gonna like drink alcohol. Like my parents are pretty liberal about this. I could drink alcohol and beer if I wanted, but I just don't like it. But at no point was I like, let's be a teenager, you know? So on the one hand, I'm like, did I miss out? On the other hand, the question is no. That's not a question, but it's true.
The question is no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
should go on Jeopardy.
thank you. Thank you. What are frogs?
What are frogs?
So, but I think, the biggest problem in addiction that you would hear about in America is the opioid crisis. And, that digs into so many levels of society. And, I mean, you could look at it like through like conflict theory, um, functionalism, whatever. And you'll see it's more complicated than many people think.
Yeah, it's opium has been a bane of society for a long, long
Yeah, just
time.
ask China.
China.
I love China.
And yet opium is still not a resource in Civ.
No. Holy shit, dude. I mean, okay. Civ 5, man.
Civ
If
5.
only it was modded to hell like Skyrim. Right? Like, they're Skyrim and Civ 5. They both have the potential to be like super good games. They're both not. Right? Skyrim has a modding community which makes it a super good game. Like a masterpiece. Right? Like, really. Um, but Civ 5 is just not like that, you know.
I think it's
And
a lot harder to mod. Not
um,
not not in the sense like it's harder to make mods, because it's clearly not, because it has a much easier system. But in the sense that Skyrim is so open ended, there's so many things you could just throw in if you have an
yeah,
idea. There's not You're more limited in Civ.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Civ is like one of my favorite games of all time, and I've played it so much in a Davi 2 that if I'm not playing with other people, I've done everything, right? Like playing with a bunch of friends, I think it's fun when the multiplayer decides it wants to work. But just like single player, I've done everything there is. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of repetitive. It's like after a while you've
Yep.
seen it all.
But like I can tell when I really like a game like after the first time I play it, right? Like when I think about the game like all day after playing, I'm like, wow, that was really fun. I can't wait to try out this. Like after I played Civ, I was like, whoa, I can't wait to try out all the leaders and do everything. And then of course I discovered how terrible the game really is. Um,
Well, it's just every leader is basically the same,
yeah, yeah, and
which
yeah,
it's pretty true to life.
yeah.
You know, like
And I remember the same thing happened when I started League of Legends. I know you didn't really care for that, but for the listener, like after I started playing League of Legends, I was like, wow, um, like this is fun. I can't wait to try everything out. And I don't know why I do this. It's not I don't do this um willingly, but whenever I start a new game and I know like I really like it, I won't look at like online resources and guides. Like in League of Legends, I didn't even know all the champions or its strategies or anything. I didn't look up any guides until very later on, just because I was having so much fun. I didn't even care about that.
yeah, it's like
This
spoilers.
episode is sponsored by.
The sun, its shining rays beam down on us and give us life. But if you anger it, it will murder you with cancer. So be on the sun's good side.
You know,
The sun, it
fuck,
it will
fuck
kill
the
you.
sun, dude. Fuck the sun.
Hey man, dude, that's $1 million sponsorship right there. Oh my
Fuck the sun.
god,
It
come
gave
on,
birth
man.
to some of the most terrible things: skin cancer, humans, plants, algae, bacteria, mosquitoes. Jesus
Well,
Christ, the list goes on.
the
Fuck the
sun
sun.
didn't give birth to it.
Ban the sun.
The sun
Anyways,
is the sun.
I don't know where this podcast is going, man. We started on addiction, then Civ 5, then the sun.
Yeah, I'm like
The sun is a deadly laser. So on that topic, let's talk about time travel.
okay.
um, I don't know why I said I just looked at the topic list and the first thing I
Well,
saw was time travel.
free will doesn't exist. So, time travel,
Well, I
if you
don't.
do it, it's
Do
the
you
same
do you
thing.
believe in time traveling back?
It can't be,
That's exactly what I'm saying. Time
except
traveling
except
forward.
for block time, where the past is uncertain and the future is already set in stone.
Mm.
Block time, second sponsor.
Well, I just think logically traveling back in time, not possible. Um, Traveling forward in time, that's already happening. You know, um, relativity and stuff. Um, do you have any general thoughts about time travel? I
Well,
mean,
traveling back in time is like a cool idea
you know,
for certain people.
I don't get it. Even if it was possible.
It would suck for most people. Let's be honest here.
Well, tell me why you don't like it, and then I'll tell you why I don't like it.
Well, it would. Okay, well, it would probably suck for me because I I look like a Jew and I've got a Jewish name, and therefore people will think of me as a Jew. And let me
Well,
tell you,
well, it's like
Jews
okay.
not
I
not
was
very
thinking more like
welcoming.
people are like, ooh, I'm gonna travel back and fix all my mistakes. But
Oh, that's very short range.
yeah,
Well, I don't think I remember like mistakes big enough to do
yeah,
that.
exactly. Also, here's my argument. We've said before, your mistakes are some of the most important lessons in your life. Without these experiences and these mistakes, you would not learn these things. If you don't learn these things, you don't think the way you do today. And if you don't think the way you do, you're not yourself. Because who you are is how you think. And if you haven't changed in that way, you won't be who you are today. And that's crazy because I want to be who I am today.
I mean, I don't like, but you could be a better person, right? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I think, you know, we've said failures teach people, and
yeah,
honestly, in my past, I would change absolutely nothing. Why? Because I believe in the way, not believe like I trust it, but not believe like I think it's true, but I trust it. I believe in the way I think today, in my, like my process of thought, and that makes it is who I am, and I believe in who I am. And if I didn't have these experiences, I wouldn't be who I am.
yeah.
So my
I'm
argument,
just
I would change nothing.
I'm not so hot on traveling that close to the present.
Yeah, I think if you have the opportunity, like go, statistically, more people had the opportunity of living in the present than in the past.
That is true.
Yeah. All right. What time would you travel to?
Well, I don't. There's not much options I have.
What do you mean?
Well,
Let's assume.
we've been over this, man.
Yeah, we have.
Like
I don't think.
I'm better off than some people, like women or black people. Which I
Yeah.
mean, it's not to be racist or sexist or
Also,
something. It's just true, right? Like history
yeah,
is not good for most people.
yeah. Also, if I stayed in the same place, California, and some Native American tribe found me, like the Aztecs, they'd probably kill me.
I don't think the Aztec reached this far up.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I think at some point maybe they had like Southern Cal. I don't know, but I either I would die to the elements, or to some Native American dudes.
Yeah, America was kind of a shithole back in the day.
It was people, not anymore so much, but many people are under the impression that Native Americans lived in harmony until the Fire Nation attacked. I mean, until Europe attacked, and
Until the white man came.
yeah, and that was not the case. Just look at the map of all the Native American regions before we. I'm saying we, but before the white people came. That place was a shithole with a ton of war, just like any other place in the world. So it wasn't that good. Um,
The present is probably the best. Oh, actually, okay. This might seem controversial, but if I had to, like, if I was forced to go back in time, I would go really far back in time. Like,
mm,
really, really far back in time.
how far back?
Like, millions of years. Tens of millions of years, even.
Dinosaurs.
Exactly. I want dinosaurs. Now, the only problem I can think of, well, there's many problems I can think of, but the big one is probably that, like, my immune system will not be able to recognize any of the diseases that are around at the time, and I will, like, collapse over dead instantly.
Wait, that's
Uh,
really interesting. Were there like how developed were biological diseases back in the day? Like
I, well, I
that's
can only
interesting.
imagine they were just different, right?
Yeah, but it's like a sick. You never think of a sick dinosaur.
That you
Hmm.
do if you watch Jurassic Park.
All right,
Boom.
continue.
Well, that's also a problem with like traveling like into human history, right? If you like just cough on one of those people, that person is dead.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Probably everyone they interact with too.
but let's assume. you can travel and, successfully not do all these terrible things. Um,
Dinosaurs. Come on, man.
you want to see dinosaurs? I mean,
I
dinosaurs
want
are
to
pretty
see
bad. I mean, you'll
dinosaurs.
be a snack probably, but
Pretty
um,
fast, but for a while. Like, okay, here's something that's really cool to think about. Okay, it's an animal that is so big that when it steps, the world shakes.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
and that was what life was like back then.
man, dinosaurs are crazy big. I mean, Jesus Christ,
Megafauna, dinosaurs,
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs.
The listener's like, what the fuck are you talking about? We have so many stupid inside jokes.
Yeah. No, I want to see dinosaurs. I think I would last for a while.
Maybe. But
I
it's
mean,
just like not like 99.999% of people would get wrecked because they're not Bear Grylls. They
yeah.
need to find water and shelter for the night. And then probably get stomped by those things with the big necks.
There's a lot of sauropods.
I
Is the
don't know,
general
dude.
term for them.
Honestly, I don't even remember. I used to know like the names for all
Dude,
dinosaurs.
how could you give up dinosaurs? They're that.
I mean, dinosaurs are cool. I remember my favorite one was the trace.
No,
What's
that is so lame.
the one with like it's like two horns and like a thing on his head? Kind of looks like a penis a little bit. Like it has one in his nose, I guess. So three
Yeah, the Triceratops.
triceratops. Yeah.
3-horned. Come on,
What
man.
what was your favorite?
Oh shoot, I don't know if I had a favorite. I liked so many.
You like your kids equally, huh?
Yeah, dude, I fucking love dinosaurs.
Hmm.
Dinosaurs. I really like the Spinosaurus.
I know that one. Those are
Yeah.
cool. There were the one, the ones with like the really. Yeah, you good?
No,
I
don't. Jurassic Park 3.
honestly, yeah. I may cut it out. I'll just go on and say, um, what did I want to say? Oh my God,
Something about Spinosauruses?
no. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's not about them, but like the dinosaur, which kind of has a weird. It's like extends from his nose and then up.
Extends from. A weird extends from his
It
nose
has
and
like
then
it has
up.
like a weird extension that goes from his
Good job,
nose,
man. Come on.
goes from
What?
his nose like up to his head and then keeps going up. Don't
What
know what
is
it's
that?
called.
What? A dinosaur with a thing that goes from its nose all the way up. What does that even
It's
mean?
it's so
A
difficult
thing?
to explain, man.
A thing? Come on, like
It's so difficult. It's like it looks like a horn, but it's not. So, I don't know what they're called.
how
But
big is it?
um, like relatively small, I think. It's like in every dinosaur movie. So
Little thing.
maybe you'll know what it is when I tell you this. So as a kid, I thought they were horns, so I thought they were cool. But later, I read that they were hollow, and they probably used them for like vocalization.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
So if it goes from the back of the head, is it a parasaur?
it wasn't from the back. I don't know,
From
man.
the front of the nose up. Like what
It's so strange.
is it like
I
a
can't
like a
describe it.
crest? Or
I can't
like
I can't describe it.
you're bad, man.
I know. I know. I'm like under a blanket. I can't think.
You can't think? We
Yeah.
had to solve a puzzle today in physics, and I
This
just like sat there for 10 minutes staring at my piece of paper. I'm like, I don't know.
this one this podcast is a little sleepy.
Fucking look up a parasaur.
Let's see.
I feel like it's
Yeah,
got. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so.
It's got. I have no utter idea of what it could be.
I
that you're
think
talking
so.
about.
I think that's the one.
Okay, because that's not the nose. That's the back of the head. Excuse me.
Well, like extends though from the front of the nose, like to the back of the head.
What?
Okay,
No, it doesn't. It's just the
whatever.
head is really long.
Whatever.
Okay.
Fuck you.
Fine.
So let's see. We didn't really talk about.
Dinosaurs are really important to me.
They
I
are.
really like. Yeah.
Hmm. Are they your
Oh,
spirit animals?
speaking of Jurassic Park, are you aware that what's his face came out with a jazz album?
What's his face?
Ian Malcolm. Come
Do
on,
you
what's his
want?
name?
Do you want the truth here? I watched Jurassic Park maybe once. I don't remember anything about it.
Oh, come on, man. No, you got to know his name.
No,
No, no, he's really famous. Like
dude.
I
Okay,
can't.
so sometimes on Reddit there are like these like AMA or like anything to do with celebrities. I don't know 90% of the names people bring up. I just don't. Like I have no idea who they are. I probably don't care. I mean that's about it. We should move on to an actual topic maybe.
I gotta figure out what his name is. I can't believe I forgot.
Bless
Oh,
you,
I'm gonna die,
jeez.
man.
Let's move on to the topic, man.
Okay, you go on. I'll keep looking.
All right. Let me check if there's anything by the way, listener, if you're listening to this, suggest a topic, please. Please suggest a topic. Um
Jeff Goldblum.
See, you say that name, that means nothing to me.
Oh, you have to know Jeff Goldblum.
No, nope, nope.
You really do.
No, no.
He's really famous, man.
I mean, I probably know him, but not by name.
He's I don't know how to describe. He wears glasses.
Yeah, yeah, I know like how he looks like, but not. I don't remember his name. Anyways, um, so I'm gonna give you a few options here. Okay, we could talk about this. We're gonna, bring it to stuff we can talk about easily. Or we could talk about Minecraft. This is video game regions. Minecraft, Warhammer, Spore, Fortnite craze. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just put the Fortnite tag on this video and you get a crazy 10 views. Um,
Dude, that's insane.
we, we could talk about fucking EA and Ubisoft. We can talk about gameplay YouTubers and streamers. I
Oh,
mean,
dude.
what are you
Yeah,
feeling?
I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sick.
Well, that's
No, let's talk about Minecraft. It's the game that started it all. Not really, but close enough, right?
yeah. How did you come upon Minecraft?
How did I come upon
Yeah,
Minecraft?
because I have a little bit of a story. Not really, but
Um, I guess YouTube actually, believe it or not.
oh, well.
Yeah.
Um, so I was in like a summer camp. I don't remember what age I was. And there were these kids and they were looking at the video and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And I didn't know these kids. It was just a summer camp. And they were like, "It's a game called Minecraft." And my first reaction was, "Those are some shitty graphics, man." And they told me that's the point and I didn't get it. So, they weren't like that's the point, dude. They were like that's the point. Get out of here, nerd. That's not what they said, but that's the it's
Implication.
yeah. Um, so I went home. I googled Minecraft. I was like, okay, it's a thing. Let's just download a cracked version, easy enough to do, and try it out. Now, it, back in the day, you would need to like tick a box to actually update Minecraft from its first version. I didn't know that, so I just played on the first version. And the first thing I did, the very first thing I did, not survival, I went to do creative. I looked up TNT, not dynamite, TNT. I put it down, I took a torch, and I tried to light it, and it didn't work. And I couldn't figure out how to light the TNT. And that was my first experience. And then I think I was like obsessed with melon farms or something. Yeah. But
Nice.
nowadays, I can't play that fucking game unless it's modded.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah.
Before the mods really started, I just used to build pirate ships.
I would
because
build castles. Yeah, go.
yeah,
Yeah. Sorry
apart
for
from dinosaurs,
sorry for cutting you off. Yeah.
pirates is really where I
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
pirates.
Pirates,
God,
dinosaurs.
pirates are cool.
So, like Minecraft, I think after a while, vanilla it's whatever. You've already done it all.
Even
Um,
modded. Like I don't know. Every now and
yeah.
then I get the urge to go back and to like build something, but then I think about it. I'm like, but what would be the point?
Yeah, exactly. Um, I mean, we had a lot of fun playing modded Minecraft in short. It's like very short, very intense bursts.
About 2 days of like nonstop playing, and
Yeah.
then never
Um,
again for like months.
and we would actually make like a lot of progress on like really sick bases. Um, and the server we were playing on, I couldn't make a fucking nuke. Like I got all the ingredients. It took me like so long, and I was ready to craft it, and I couldn't make a nuke. I went to their forums, and I was like, "Why can't I make a nuke?" And they were like, "Oh, because it's destructive." I was like, "Fuck! I'm gonna go raid people's bases," and I did.
Yeah, we got so many capacitor banks out of that.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we had like infinite energy, which was a bit annoying to me because I just spent like the past day building a giant fucking reactor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
like doing the math, and then all of a
Man,
sudden
but it
infinite energy.
was it was a lot of fun. Modded Minecraft. I remember so I learned after my first chemistry lessons, not my first, but some after I was introduced to chemistry, I downloaded Minechem
Oh, dude,
and I
Minecraft.
and I made a process that turns water into diamonds, and I posted it on Reddit, and I got 60 something upvotes. Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. I remember I was on a server that had Minecam.
Oh yeah. I know this
So,
one.
so I built a trailer out in the desert biome that had an underground laboratory where I would make cocaine infused apples, and you could get cocaine out of netherworth. I'm pretty sure, and you could put it in an apple. So then I would go to the spawn, and I would wait for new players to join, and I would give them a bunch of apples, and some of them had cocaine in it, and some of them didn't. Uh,
So I remember I was playing with Kevin. It wasn't with you on this like Skyblock server. Okay? And so this guy was like, "Please, can I join? Please, can I join?" So we were like, "Okay, let's just kind of troll him here." So, we make like a little prison cell for him, and he teleports to us in there, and he's stuck. He can teleport out at any time. We're like, "Okay, this is your initiation," and then we made him, and it, I was trolling. I didn't think it would actually say it, but I was like, "Repeat after me. Allah is the one true God. We must achieve a state of ahimsa." And I mean, this is offensive to many people on so many levels. Not that I care that much, but um, and he and he just spent a few seconds staring at me before repeating in chat, "Allah is the true God." And I was like, "Come on, this poor dude." And then we killed him. We dropped him to his death.
you were the
And
FBI.
then
You were,
and then
you were
it
testing him.
it doesn't end. He came back. And we covered his prison cell with signs preaching the word of Allah. And then the admins came and they were like, "What is this?" And we were like, "It's just it's just signs." And the admins really didn't like it, so they broke the signs. And then Kevin and I were like, "Wait, this is free speech not allowed?" And then they were like, "No." But this was in our base, right? So nobody had to look at it. So we were not allowed to put any signs which were against the server, its people, or about the glory of Allah in our own like plot. Um, so major violation of freedom, American freedom of speech, um,
It is private land though, so
in that
in
server. Yeah,
fairness.
but yeah, I mean, Minecraft servers are all totalitarian. They are. Yeah, just kind of funny to think about.
Do you have any other good troll? I've got a couple good troll stories from my
Well, I
past.
have one short story. This was in the earlier days. I was on kind of, these rogue servers where like it's basically chaos. Some people randomly have admin or something, and so I was just playing, doing my thing, and suddenly I got opt. I got admin. So I was like, shoot, what? And turns out after I realized someone like was some admin was going rogue or whatever, and I was like, okay, instead of trolling people, what I did is, so in order to actually advance in the game, you needed like to buy stuff from the shop. The problem is there was no way to make money. So what I did was I literally offered to pay people money. I basically created jobs. I'm creating jobs, people. I was like, okay, bring me like 60 for like a stack of wood, and you'll get like $2. So I didn't realize it at the time, but I created an economy in the server, and that was before I was permanently banned. Um, for um, like they thought I like hacked the server to become an admin or something. I made the server great again, in fact, by building a strong economy, and honestly, China and Russia, um, great places. Yes, Nadab.
Yeah. Well, that's not really much of a troll.
No,
I was on a
it's an
server with
it's an
some friends.
anti-troll.
It was just like us. It was like six of us, I think. And every now and then we would have like a troll war,
Mm,
just to see.
yeah.
So one of my friends had a house that was on a floating island, and the only way to get to it was a bridge that he built that connected to it. And he was really proud of his house and that floating island because, like the seed didn't have a lot of floating islands, so it was very unique. Um, and so what I did was I destroyed his bridge after taking a picture of it, and then I carefully rebuilt it exactly the same but upside down. Uh, so you could still
Wow.
get across to his house, but you would walk on the bottom of the bridge instead of on the top of the bridge, and
That's
he
that's
hated that
funny.
so much. So what he did in response was, I don't know how long this took him. He filled up every free spot in my house with a water source block. Not just flowing water, a source block. So he had to lug like unstacked water buckets back and forth from like the river, like at the base of the mountain my house was on, up and down, over and over again to fill my. And let me tell you, it took like an hour to clear out all that stupid water. So in response, I did what was probably my greatest of all time. I went back to his house and he'd fixed his bridge. So and I wasn't gonna touch it again. That was played out. What I did instead was I hollowed out his floating island, and I put a bunch of jukeboxes, like music box, like note blocks,
Yeah.
underneath, connected by redstone to a pressure pad at his like the door of his house. So if you walked in, it would start playing like Harry Potter theme,
Oh
and
wow.
it would just keep playing, like just the beginning part, not like the whole thing, just the beginning part.
Dum 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 dum.
Dun 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 dun,
That's
and then
funny.
it would do that on loop, like several times.
That's pretty
And so the
funny.
only way he could get it rid of it was to like dig up his house and like dig up his floating island,
Yeah.
and he was so mad.
All
But it
right.
was great.
I think we should wrap this one up.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for bearing with us on this a little bit. How would you describe this episode?
Topsy turvy, windy, windy,
Yeah,
wishy-washy.
we're not feeling our best. We have a lot of schoolwork. Nadav is sick. Whatever. I'm not here to apologize, but thank you so much for listening to this podcast.
Yeah, it's season one.
Yeah,
Good on
I
you.
don't know if
Well,
this is gonna be the end. Um, even
it's probably going to be the end of season one. Let's be honest.
you think so?
Yeah, because
Really?
like I can't record past next Friday.
Oh, wait, why?
Well, because I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back home in California without my stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, ladies or gentlemen, this is the end of season one. Woo! Thank you so much
Whoa,
for
whoa, whoa,
listening.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Um, I guess this is what I do. I guess if you're here, you listen through all the episodes, and if you haven't, that's what you should do, and leave a like on every one of them and a comment. But seriously, um, hopefully we can keep improving. Hopefully season two will be a lot better, and season three will be even better than that. Um, we'll post a date sometime in the description, or I don't know. We'll find somewhere to tell you where when season two is gonna begin. Anything you want to say?
We should do it this week. We learned.
Oh yeah, we should. Oh my god, this is already over time.
This week, I
What?
learned that iron is the most stable element.
What?
Yeah, it
Thought it
is.
was. I thought it was silver.
Nope, it's iron.
Huh.
Yeah,
Well,
and lead is the last stable element.
I learned that when elements hybridize, if they make a pi bond, which is like a double or triple bond, the and it's only one, and it's I'm doing a horrible job of explaining this, but basically, um, when the bond is vertical, it would start with p orbital instead of s orbital. I'm sorry.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
Well, because it's vertical, and the
Yeah,
s
but
orbital isn't vertical, and the p is. I mean, quantum magic for us at this point is indeed magic.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. We should wrap this up.
we should. All right.
Yeah. Thank you for doing all the stuff you've been doing. If you want to hear more, subscribe. We won't be here next week or next week, but we'll let you know when the next season starts.
We probably won't be back until January sometime. So,
Yeah, and hopefully I'll have my microphone by then. I've been kind of pushing it off.
all right.
Yep.
Let's go.
Well, I'll see you later.
Bye bye.